Hey everybody, Chatting Nobody Else's Auto, 7:30 Sunday evening, time for some more live chat. And like I promised you earlier, we've got company tonight. Dad came down to hang out with us tonight. So, first time. I know you guys have been asking for a long time. He finally came down tonight and is going to hang out with us. So, Matt's here. Gary's on. Neil's ready to go. Ryan and Amy are here. Kevin Brown, Austin, Randy with the Nut Farm, Big Job, Neil, Pete Winters, Kevin L. Holy cow, you guys are all back and ready to go. All right. Obviously, lots of stuff going on. Lots of things to talk about. Glad Dad came down to hang out with us tonight. Obviously, you guys are excited about it. Charles is here with us. So anyway, I think you can see both of us in the camera. I hope all that is fine. Facebook, we are not on. I'm running a minute or two behind because I've been fighting Facebook for the last 10 minutes, and it would not go. So I did put a post up on Facebook, so our friends over there will hopefully jump on this, but it kept telling me there was no title, and it wouldn't let me go live. I put it in 5 times. It still said it wasn't there, so that's all we got to work with. Jeff from Ottawa, Big Red, Bill Wagaman. John's here. So anyway, lots of things to talk about. We got some stuff that Dad's going to talk about, share with you guys. You can ask him questions. Greg from Glasgow's here. Okay, good. Kev, thanks. Appreciate that. Steve's here. Dispatch Brian. And kind of work our way through things tonight. So obviously, you know, you can ask Dad questions, ask me questions, whatever, and we'll go ahead and get moving. So anyway, what do you want to say to start with?
Well, I just thought I'd come down, and there's been people asking about how I got started in the business, and which is kind of a strange story, which Chad's kind of covered over the years and little pieces here and there. But basically, it just all comes from the love of cars and trying to keep things back on the road and just having fun, enjoying what I've always played with. I've been doing model cars since I can remember. I remember taking little toy cars apart when I was barely old enough to know what I was doing, and it's just kind of grown from there. I've had high school cars that I tore up, blew up, wrecked, and my dad says, well, they're going to sit there till you fix them. So I learned how to fix them and just kept on going. It's just been an ongoing saga and story from there, and it's been a time I wouldn't probably ever want to redo any other way.
So anyway, we got some more fun stuff we're going to get into with that. Bill Disk is here. Hey, you ready for that Oldsmobile, Bill? I bet you're actually really going to be ready for it by the time you see it again in April. So
that baby is running and sounds sweet.
So, yep, it's in the shop right now, Bill. Eric's here with us. Dan from Defiance. Lee from New York. Frank's here. So anyway, you kind of grew into Buicks by working at the Buick dealership.
That's where it kind of started. I always did like Buick, the way the design, the style. Actually, I started with a Pontiac dealership. I worked for a Pontiac dealership about 2 years prior to the going to work for the Buick Cadillac dealership. When I went to school at Barton County, they did not have the facility completely finished yet. They didn't have the shop built. All we had was the classroom. So basically what they did is they sent us out to different dealerships to kind of get hands-on training of what the real world was like, which was really a good thing. Well, I went to the Pontiac dealership, and I was fairly comfortable doing in my own skin doing mechanic work. So they were giving me jobs to do. I was basically working on the line like another mechanic. And so they offered me a job. And long story short, I was working about half the time for free through the school, and I was getting paid the other half. So it worked out really well in the long run. And the next semester, I went to work as a student at the Buick Cadillac dealership. And this kind of the same thing happened there. When they didn't have an opening at the time, so they wanted to know if I would be interested in going to work for them when they had an opening. So as soon as they had an opening, they called me, and they offered me $1 more an hour. At the Pontiac dealership, I was making $2.50 an hour straight time. When I worked for Dove's, the Buick Cadillac dealership, they offered me $3.50 an hour, but I was working flat rate, which to me, flat rate was a lot better because I could kill flat rate. So I made a lot more money working at that dealership, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
So anyway, and Pete brought up a question about Dad's first car. Wait for story time, Pete. We're getting to that here in a little bit. Dennis made it tonight. But real quick, before we get too far into that stuff. Oh, and actually, Bill, they did drop the tank out of that Oldsmobile. It's cleaned out, ready to go. And you got the fuel pump on it, right?
Fuel pump, it's running.
So it looks good, Bill. We got it washed, got the dust cleaned off of it. Looks great. So
all gears shift forward and backwards, and brakes work. And
so, yep, I think you're going to be excited about it. Sam's here. Mary's with us. Old School's back. Jim's here. But anyway, before we get too far off on all that stuff, first off, obviously episode number 250, which is insane. And I want to thank all of you guys for continuing to support it and continuing to support what we're doing, inviting your friends over. And we got to thank Dad, too, because this is how we all got here. So we wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for him teaching me and getting involved into this. So, but, so huge thanks to all of you guys for supporting what we're doing here and continuing to turn this into what it is. There goes the hearts. I love the hearts. But we've been touching on some things that we're going to possibly change. And I don't know if you guys saw the title or not, but we are going to do some rebranding. Talk to Pete about this, talk to a few of you other guys about this. So we have went with a different title. I don't know if you guys noticed it or not, the Nobody Show Gearhead Interactive Live Chat. Because Sunday Night Live Chat didn't even tell anybody we were even talking about cars. So we're making some tweaks there. I think it is in there, Eric. I think I saw it. Was it late last night or this morning or something? I did see it in there, Eric. So we're good. So yeah, I hope it is Old School. So we're going to make a few tweaks, a few changes, talking about maybe adding some different features here and there and doing some different things like that. But we did go ahead and change the name starting here with episode number 250. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. I found a 250 license plate for tonight. What do you think of that? I went through hundreds and hundreds of plates today, but I did come up with one with a number 250 specifically for tonight. So anyhow, that's going to be coming up. And like I said, a few tweaks, a few changes. We're still up in the air on Facebook on what the long-term plan is for that. But obviously tonight it isn't working, period. So I guess that answers that question right out of the gate for tonight. Balin Wire made it. So anyhow, that's there again, something else we're still trying to discuss, whether Facebook is going to be worth keeping or not, whether we're going to go strictly to YouTube. We're still waiting on some feedback from that. But, we still have the No Buddies page on Facebook. If you have not joined the No Buddies page, be sure to get on there. A lot of cool stuff going on there. A lot of cool stuff even this week. Kevin posted stuff at the Ford pickup. He's working on lots of stuff from Tulsa. Jason Bradshaw got his picture taken with Paunch, which is super awesome. Obviously, we talked about Chips last week. I still love to watch Chips. So Jason got to meet Paunch in Tulsa. That was pretty cool. A lot of great pictures from the Tulsa show. Andy's was there, had his trucks there. Randall with the Nut Farm posted some collection pictures. So a lot of great stuff on there. If you guys are not on there, be on there. It is awesome. You guys are doing a great job, an amazing job of making that really what it is as well. There's John Sanderson. Sounds great, Bill. I don't post anything on Facebook Marketplace. It's too much of a hassle. I post stuff on my page, and then the problem with Marketplace is nobody will call you. Nobody's clear on when they message you. And the other thing about Facebook Marketplace is everybody thinks they have to message you. And they say, you get a notification. Well, I'm admin on like 15 different Facebook pages. So I get notifications all day, every day on some page that I'm on. 99% of which is complete trash. So yes, my phone goes off all the time on notifications, but most of it isn't even on the Nobody's page because I'm admin on so many different pages. So anyway, that's awesome, but we'll definitely keep that going. We'll just see how things are going to shake on with the live. There's Big Job. So anyway, some things that we wanted to talk about tonight. obviously you guys wanted to touch base on how this started and look at talk about some of the early episodes. So we'll touch on some of that. Obviously, you guys want to hear more from Dad about what he did. So kind of think about how we're going to do that. We're going to talk about, he'll do story time tonight, as well as we're going to do a couple of them tonight, actually, one of them going all the way back to the beginning. So that'll be fun as well. So anyhow, I've got the promos ready. So when we get to the promos, we're going to recap all those promos that we've been doing. My phone's actually going off right now with notifications. Probably saying that we're not live. So notifications about about not being able to get on tonight. So anyhow, let me grab a few notes. We'll spend a few minutes with the old stuff of where we got going here, and then we'll kind of let Dad start talking about some cars and some of that stuff. So, but as you guys know, now we've got this notebook. These are all episodes. I started after the first year with the worksheets like we used today. I'm probably on about the 20th revision of this worksheet, but we started the first worksheet January 2nd of 21. That's when I first started actually using a worksheet, and it's like, you guys keep coming back. I guess we'll turn it into something. So there's the first actual worksheet from January of 21. So, but even prior to that, and we've talked about a little bit before, the first handful of episodes were done strictly on Facebook. And what it started as was literally I was just coming up with a topic to talk about. And that's literally how it started. I think some of these first ones were 15 or 20 minutes. February 9th of 2020, the topic was finding parts for your project car. The stuff that I see people doing wrong, which is why they can't find anything. There you go, Bill. Sorry about that. The supercharged badge only comes out for super chats, but we can sure give you some of these for sure. Get a few of those slid in. Any Auburn treasures? I've actually been sorting through some of the stuff I've got from ACD. We've actually got a couple pieces in tonight's auction if we get that far. I got a bunch of stuff ready for tonight's auction, depending on what we do on those. So that's kind of literally how it started. The next episode, February 16th of 2020, 5 years ago, was literally about using eBay. The stuff that I see people do wrong on eBay trying to find stuff. More Auburn videos. There are 2 cord videos coming, Eric. There is, you got the first one. You got the project cord because you're a member. And then we've got one more cord video in the can where we literally jump in a freshly restored 37 812 supercharged Phaeton and drove it to lunch. So we get to see Doug go through the gears. We go down the road with it. We had a lot of fun. That video is a blast. So it's a cord, not an Auburn, but that's what's we got that one coming up yet. John first watched, remember the 34 people. Yeah, we've definitely grown. There's no doubt about it. Pete's first one was 96. Levi's here. February 23rd of 2020, we didn't do a video. I was in Kansas City at World Wheels that weekend. March 1st, Facebook for finding parts. March 8th, Craigslist tips. March 15th, print advertising. So literally all this stuff about trying to get people who, literally just trying to help people, telling people what I see people doing wrong when they're trying to find parts for their projects. When it's March 22nd, I wrote down update. I don't know what we had on updates for that or the 29th. And here's kind of where some feedback started building into what we're doing here right now. Getting into April is when you guys, being the viewers, started making suggestions and we started talking about stuff. April 5th of 2020, car movies and cars and TV shows. So this is literally, 2 months in. Lee still remembers them. 2 months in is when the feedback started coming in, and we started growing and molding and literally turning into where we ended up here. April 12th was talking about toy cars. And then that's what ended up spawning Toy Tuesday, where we do strictly memorabilia and kind of took it out of here and put it into its own section. Obviously, we still do badges and caps and emblems and have a good time with that and promos. But we do have the dedicated Toy Tuesday now for a lot of that stuff. April 19th, you guys started talking about my background. And that's why Dad's here tonight. So we're kind of taking that April 19th episode from 2020 full circle tonight. April going into May, we started talking about how and why cars and parts get priced, or how I would do it. We talked about PayPal. We talked about reading the ads, making sure you actually read what people put out there before you start posting or asking questions, which half the time were actually addressed in the ad. And May 31st and going into June, we were still talking a little bit about what I do as far as shipping and pictures and things like that. So that was the first basically 4 months of it. And this is literally, we just came up with a topic. We jumped on, we talked about it, and that was it. And that's all it amounted to. And that's kind of what we did throughout 2020. And then, like I said, in 21 is when I was like, well, these guys keep coming back. They're kind of serious about it. So here we are. Motivate Garage, hit that like button. I appreciate that. Bill Wagon remembers the yellow papers. Yep. So that's kind of what we worked with that first year, was just a couple of notes. No idea, Jeff. I've not seen or heard anything about the Partridge Family bus, so don't have any clue what to tell you on that. I'll give you a Hudson badge, though. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, recapping some of that stuff on how we got to where we are today, where we're actually, I spend Saturday evening down here mapping this out. Obviously, you can see I did not do a magazine tonight, because if we get that far, I've got one ready already from 2 weeks ago. So, sometimes I've got some of that stuff to work with, but at least this gives us a flow to follow through and work through the chat every Sunday and try to keep it moving. Like I've told you guys before, I am nowhere near a professional, so I'm kind of winging this thing. So I need something to kind of work with. How did I first post on Facebook? I started posting. We built a Facebook page around 13, but I didn't do much with it for a couple of years. Around 15 is when 16 is when I kind of started cranking it up, and started boosting some ads and really started getting some good traction on Facebook. Was around 15 or 16. Facebook was great till it switched to Meta. I have not hardly ran any ads on Facebook since it went to Meta. And Facebook has gotten much, much tougher to grow since they went to Meta. But it all boils back down to how much money you're going to throw at them. Facebook was giving too much away. I think they realized that. Prior to Meta, my cost per engagement, primarily due to organic growth on a post, was 0.004 to 0.006 cents per post. So I could get an engagement for less than a penny. Since they switched to Meta, that cost me 40 to 45 cents for an engagement compared to what I was getting pre-Meta. So I have not pushed my Facebook nearly as much as I used to. And I've got you guys over here on YouTube, which is awesome. And YouTube keeps growing. So I still post on Facebook a handful of times a week, but I try to put more effort into my YouTube content than I do with any Facebook stuff anymore. So Jim remembers being here in 2020. So, yep, I remember you. Some of you guys have been around for a long time, which is awesome. And you still keep coming back. And I'm glad that you do learn from these, Eric, because that's what it's all about. That's why it's a live interactive chat. 7:15 Bullseye. And the fact that you guys share your knowledge is what really makes it. So there you go, big job. Pete found me on Craigslist. Kenny remembers those old days. Thanks, Bill. We try. That's why we're here. We're all here to learn. Motivate found us off Craigslist. So, yep, that's and I do still do some Craigslist. I have backed off Craigslist. Once again, Craigslist almost doubled their rates for parts ads last year. It went from $3 a post to $5 a post overnight. So I still post on there. I was posting quarterly, 4 times per year, every ad. Last year, I did it once across, each market, 300 and some markets. So anyway, that's kind of how we got to where we are now. And it's awesome that so many of you guys even remember working off of yellow sheets. That's crazy. But that's how we got here. That's where we're at. And like I said, I hope some of these tweaks that we're starting on, obviously, I think we've got a pretty good product here. I don't want to revamp the whole thing, but I want to keep tweaking it, growing it, and making it better. And your guys' feedback is always important in that. Buick Man made it tonight. So anyway, in New Orleans. Oh, yeah, you said you're going to the World War II Museum. Buick Man, I'm waiting for those pictures to post. So hopefully you get some good ones. Springfield swap meet video. Oh, yeah, from the toy guy. Yeah, he wasn't there last year, but, yeah, he was a cool dude too. So anyway, that kind of brings us up to, new inventory. I didn't pick anything up this weekend either, so because it's still not very nice here. It's supposed to be worse this week, but hopefully we're about through that. But that does bring us to promo time. Are you guys ready for promos? The promo recap. Like we've talked about, we went to the big promo. That auction had all those Chevy promos a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and we're going to recap those tonight. So are you guys ready to get into those? Buick Man's getting ready for the drum roll. Anytime is promo time. That's perfect, Jim. Those are lined up, starting with that box. Yep, I've got them all lined up in boxes. Start with, I had to make a list to keep this stuff straight. They're close to being in order, so. And we'll start with, I don't know. We both got a ton, so this stuff we're just kind of, we actually haven't even split these up yet. So we'll start off with the first one we ever did, and this was a great one.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, this is one of the first ones you grabbed, I think. The 1961 Impala 4-door hardtop.
I've always loved 4-door hardtops, no matter what they're in, and I just thought that was one of the coolest ones. I had never seen a promo in a 4-door hardtop in an early Chevy, so it just made it immediately one I wanted to grab.
And what they did is they just sold these choice. So if you were the high bidder for that round, you got to go grab whatever you want. So I think it was one of the first ones you grabbed the first time we got the bid. But I mean, this thing still has the fender ornaments intact, not chipped up. More hearts. There goes the hearts. So I know that was the first one we did. I know it was one of the first ones that Dad grabbed. Another one that was an early choice, the 1969 Chevy pickup. This was another one you grabbed pretty quick too.
Yeah. First or second round for sure.
Yeah. Tailgate opens on it.
Actually, I think that was the first round, and then then I got the 70 the second round.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you got this one first and then the other one second. Mike from Texas is here.
Which I don't believe you've done the 70 yet.
No, we haven't done it yet.
Telling secrets.
25 to go at Daytona. So, yeah, this is definitely a great one. 1976 Caprice Coupe in burgundy. I don't think they made a short bed promo, but I'm not sure. Bill could probably tell us that. Bill, our local resident promo expert. And then, like you just mentioned, the 69 Impala SS 427.
In a beautiful blue.
Yeah, that's a great blue. I've always loved that blue.
Pretty close to the same color I painted my 57 Chevy.
Back it up a few years to 1953 Bel Air 4-door. This one is a bank. Don't even have a key, but the cover's loose. To help you save for a rainy day or help you buy your new Chevrolet. I do not have any 427s, Lance. There's Tony. I hope you're keeping it all up there. They're saying we may get a little snow this week, but I hope that's wrong. Another great one, the 1958 Impala convertible. The 1970 Monte Carlo, complete with fender skirts. Yes, they did have fender skirts for them. You never see anybody with them, but they were available, and they had them on this promo.
The luxury Chevelle.
Yep. That gets takes out at the first batch. And remember, guys, we're only about halfway through these promos. And they weren't all home runs. There were some more plain Jane ones, including this little red Monza. But Monzas aren't all bad, especially when the condition is as nice as these were on this red 1980. And another one of Dad's personal favorites, the 1965 Super Sport Impala. It is kind of promo overload, but you guys asked for it. So here we go. Getting into a few G bodies. The El Camino in red in a 1980. Lots of hearts for the promos flowing. Followed up with another G body, the 78 Monte Carlo in brown. Kind of a metallic brown. And another great one, you guys are all going to remember this one. The 1960 Nomad wagon.
Don't get much better than that.
Yeah, this is so great. Wagons are good anyway. Early wagons in this condition, two-tone green with a white roof. You okay there, Nut Farm? Those are some big eyes bugging out. Based on the steady river of hearts, I'm taking it you guys are having fun with the promo models recap. And another kind of funky one, but I love the color on this one. The 1972 Vega in blue. The kind of Camaro-esque looking nose on these early Vegas. And another one back into the 50s, the 1956 Bel Air four-door hardtop. They never made a lot of promo pickups anyway, Lance. There were only two there, and we've got them both. So, and a few more to go yet. And remember, we're only about halfway through this entire collection that we bought. So they had 84 promos at that auction. We bought 49 of them. On Tractor Mike got one. We got one for Tractor Mike. So 50 out of the 84. And going back to another G-body, we're down to the last handful. Some of these are going to look fairly familiar because this is the most current stuff that we've done. The 1979 Monte Carlo in yellow. You all right there, Balin Wire, with promo overload? It's a lot of promos. Yeah, you don't see very many pickups, Lance. You really don't. In fact, I think those were the first ones I had seen.
They had some pickups in the 80s and some of the early 90s. There was quite a few of them, but the early pickups, you hardly ever see those.
Yeah, I think we've got some of those like 88, 89, 90, 91 stuff, but yeah. Number one's here. And up next, once again in that great blue, the 1969 Chevelle SS 396 hardtop promo. Unfortunately, none of these had boxes, but condition still second to none on all these. Alec made it. I hope you saw our post, Alec. Facebook was not cooperating tonight at all. I tried to set it up 5 times. It wouldn't work. And here's definitely another odd one in green, in kind of a weird green, a 1976 Monza. In kind of a metallic, limey, yellowy green. Not really sure what color that is, but it's different. Avocado, yeah, that's pretty close. And back to another 4-door hardtop. This is another great-looking promo on this 348 powered 1960 Impala 4-door hardtop, flat top. These cars have gotten crazy popular. This super flat roof line, great looking body style. Glenn made it. White with a black stripe down the side. Rally flags on the trunk and the grille, so this model or technically would have been a 348 powered car. That's another really cool one you don't see very often. And the most recent one that we've done, as we're wrapping this up, the 1974 Chevy Caprice in a dark forest metallic green in a big old coupe.
As we finish up on these promos, I'll tell you a personal story about promos. My dad was a Ford guy. And I remember back in the days, like in 59 and 60s, the first year, I actually remember we used to go down to the Ford dealership and they would have the new cars on the showroom floor wrapped in paper, like masking paper, so you couldn't see them. It was a really big deal. And they would pull the newspaper back or the paper back so you could see the new cars. And like every hour, they would give a promo away. Of course, the idea was to give a promo away to a kid whose dad had a chance of maybe buying a new car. Not just any kid got one. I never got one. but a lot of kids did, and I'm sure it tempted their dad into buying a car. And it was a really big deal. I mean, they would have donuts. It would be an all-day deal, coffee and donuts and giveaways. Not only promos, they had other things they would give away. But it was a big event to go down and see the new cars. I can remember like it was yesterday.
So they gave promos away as part of those promotions, literally as a promotional piece.
Yeah, like about every hour they would have a drawing, and they would pull a promo out, and it usually always went to a kid whose dad had the opportunity or the purchase power to buy a new car.
So it was by design.
It was planned, and it usually worked. So, but it was still a good time and good memories.
Randy's here. Glad you stopped by tonight, Randy. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, no kidding. Too bad all those shoe boxes weren't promo size. Can you grab the pickup again? So we want to see the pickup again.
Sure.
There's the pickup again. Now, Grandpa was actually a milkman for a lot of years. That's about Grandpa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad ran a dairy route. He worked for a local dairy where they did everything. They would get the milk in from the farmer, and they would process it, and we'd carton it and then deliver it house to house. I used to help deliver in the little boxes on the front porches, if anybody's old enough to remember that. My dad was kind of a manager, so he basically did everybody's job. He was capable of doing any job because when somebody went on vacation, he filled in. So I remember doing a little of everything. I remember going out to the farmers and picking up milk and bringing it in. So, and then I remember delivering it to the little grocery stores out in the country and taking the milk in and putting it in their milk cases. So now I guess I'm showing my age, but good memories.
This one is a 69 baling wire. Most of these actually had the year on the bumper, and this one does have the 69 grill. Like Austin mentioned earlier, and Dad mentioned, we've got a 70 that will be coming up sometime in the near future. So
I actually had a 69 long bed pickup, and that's what made me grab that one of the first ones.
So anyway, it was definitely promo overload, but it was a lot of fun. And obviously with the river of hearts that were flowing, I'm assuming you guys liked it too. So we'll probably have to do this again as we keep working our way through. But like I said, about halfway through this Chevy promo collection. And we've still got a lot of great stuff coming. Corvettes, and an early Corvettes, not like Corvettes from the 90s, early Corvettes coming, like from the 60s. Some great Corvettes, Corvairs, more Impalas. We got some great promos coming yet. So I'm excited about that, and I think you guys are going to dig them as well. There's a few more Monzas and a few things like that too, but there's a lot of really great stuff coming soon. So Nut Farm, he was the big guy when he got to carry the gallon milk bottles. Also, Baling Wire's truck is the same color as that too. That's cool. No 53 vet promos.
I've got one.
Yeah, there wasn't one of those in this collection, but yeah, you got one at the shop. You got it at your shop.
I've got one, but it wasn't in this. I think the oldest Corvette in there was like a mid 60s, wasn't it?
There's a 60 in there.
Was there a 60? Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so promo overload, but we got a lot more to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And actually, I've bought a few other promos that, we're so focused on this. I've got a few other promos I bought in the meantime we'll still get to too. This is my dad, Alex. I guess you weren't here earlier, so this is my dad. He stopped by tonight. But anyway, I know there's a lot more stuff you guys want to know, so I'm going to let Dad take over some of this stuff because he's going to answer some of those questions about how he got to where he is, which got me to where I'm at, which got us all right here. But we're going to go back to the early scrapbook. And we're going to start way, way back.
Probably number 1.
Yep. Actually, it was number 3, right?
Well, it was number 3 that, yeah, I didn't take pictures of the first 3. Actually, this is number 4.
Okay.
The first car I bought my dad and I bought was a 57 Ford Custom, one of the cheaper ones with just a single strip of chrome down the side. I think I was either 13 or almost 14. And it was kind of a plain Jane car. First thing I did was sanded it down, repainted it metallic green. I put chrome bob covers on it, chrome air cleaner on it, baby moon hubcaps, kind of slicked it up. And for the time, this would have been in 66 probably. Well, my dad had a guy working for him at the dairy that just fell in love with that car and wanted to buy it. So my dad, against my will, of course, sold it to him, and we took in on trade a 1954 Ford two-door sedan, just a plain Jane turd, nothing special about it, but a pretty good old car. I sold that and bought another 57 Ford. This was the Fairlane 500. It was the fancier one with the gold insert trim on the side. Both of these cars are 4-doors, so nothing special about them. Well, anyway, I drove that car for a while, cleaned it up, and had another guy at the store, at the dealership, or the Pontiac, the milk place, wanted to buy that car. So I ended up selling it to him. And then I bought a 57 Chevy, which is the one we're going to talk about now. It was basically a plain Jane 4-door sedan, 210. It was that coral, I called it pink and ivory, but it was that coral color that they used, that which I hated. And long story short on that, I was out driving it one night when I was like 14 or 15, and another guy, a friend of mine, had a 56 4-door sedan, so we decided we're going to race. Well, we're racing down on one of the back roads behind the Chevy dealership. Well, a cop starts chasing us. Well, I kind of get away, and I backed my 57 Chevy in the garage. When I drove it out, it was blue. So I didn't want him chasing me down. And about a year or two later, my dad ran into that cop. He goes, he didn't fool me. He says, I know what he did. I just didn't want to make a big deal out of it. So that car went through a lot of different changes over the years, and that was one of the first ones. You want me to keep talking about that?
Just as
okay. Well, that car went through a lot. Had a power glide in it, and first thing I did was playing with that. I shelled out the power glide, so I put a 3-speed on the floor, put 11-inch Corvette clutch in it, 3-speed with a Hurst shifter, tall Hurst shifter. Second thing that happened, I shelled the rear end out on it, knocked the gears out of it. We went up north of Russell at the time. I grew up in Russell, Kansas, and about 10:30, 11 o'clock on Saturday nights, we'd had the highway marked off, and we would go out and drag race. We'd have people sitting on the intersection, so it was fairly safe, kind of, sort of. And I shelled the gears out of the rear end on that, so I found a 370 Positrack and put it in there. Well, that car kind of woke up then until I got into a race. This was back before I-70 was completely done. You could get on I-70, but they didn't have the edges done, so we could get on, and we were racing from Russell to Gorham, which was about 10 miles. So we'd race top end, and I knocked the rods out of that 283. So I bring it home, and my dad says, well, I guess you're going to fix it again, because he didn't have the money to pay to have it fixed. So I just started looking. I found a 55 Bel Air with a 265 4-barrel in it that I bought for $35, the whole car. Brought it home, pulled the motor out of it, and the thing was, I remember this day, the inside of that motor was like tar. I don't think they ever changed oil in that motor. So I got about 5 gallons of gasoline and started cleaning parts. That's the way we did it back in the day. And ordered an overhaul kit out of the Montgomery Ward catalog. I ordered the spring compressor and the ring groove cleaner and all the pieces I needed to put this motor together. Bought a manual. Actually, I checked a manual out from the library. Well, I was putting this together, I worked at the local Deep Rock station, which was kind of the high school hot rod hangout. This is where everybody met to decide who's going to race who that night. And they would start there, pull their air cleaners off, undo their headers, go race, and then come back and put their cars back together. Well, in Russell, there was a lot of oil money at the time. Still is some, but it was really big at the time. So a lot of these kids had really cool hot rods. Guy I knew just got a 68 SS 350 Camaro. Well, the first thing he did is he put a aluminum high-rise and a Holley carburetor on it, headers, big cam, and had all these old pieces laying around. And I asked him, what's he going to do with this stuff? He goes, I don't know. You want to buy it? I think I bought that whole pile of stuff for like $20, 20 or $30. So I put all this stuff on that little 265. Well, believe it or not, that little 265 had some guts. I don't know what the combination was, but it just ran. I was putting this thing together, and my dad come out in the garage one night, and he looked at it, and there was pieces scattered. We had a little single-car garage with kind of a lean-to. And I had stuff scattered all over that garage, and he shook his head. He says, that goddamn thing will never run again. So I got it back together. And keep in mind, I had hot rod buddies. I had people I could ask questions to. There was a really cool guy, had a transmission shop by the name of John Lawpone. He used to race with R.C. Williams. Chad knows who I'm talking about. Most of you guys don't. But he was one of these guys that if you asked him a question, he would start from the beginning, and he would tell you, here's why you should do it, here's how you should do it, and here's what happens if you don't do it. So you learn a lot from people like that if you just stop and listen. So I kind of bugged him when I got into a problem. Anyway, put this thing together, and this little car ran with the clutch in it and the rear end gears that I had in it. I could outrun SS 396s in a quarter mile. Now, they would kill me at the end of the quarter, but these guys weren't putting any tires on. They would just spin tires, and mine would not spin. It would just go. And that's back in the day we would race for a case of beer, and we had more fun doing that. And I had one guy that I always beat, and he was gone for approximately 3 weeks, and I knew he was working on his car. He had a 66 SS 396. So he comes out and he says, I'm going to blow your doors off this time. Well, he did everything but change tires, and I beat him worse because he spun his tires more. It was just the idea of these guys learning. I was maybe lucky enough or knew enough people, knew enough questions to ask, but to do some tricks to kind of get out of the hole, where to ride the clutch, when to shift, and how to slip the clutch, and just a few things to make the difference, and had a lot of fun doing it. So that's why I've always been into drag racing to this day also. So this car also was involved in a couple of accidents. We're not going to say how it happened, but beer might have been involved. But I remember going down Main Street one night, and the guy says, turn here, I want to go by this girlfriend's house. Well, I turned, but I forgot I was going about 60. And I ended up in some guy's front yard, and we kind of come off the front yard and landed on top of the front end of a 63 Chevy. So that was kind of a mess. Took it home, bought another car, which was a 57 Bel Air four-door sedan. And then that's what I really converted this car to a Bel Air. I took every piece of Bel Air trim off of that car, even all around the doors, the windows, the fins, all the dash pieces, everything, and put it on this car. Put the front clip off of that car on this one. One of the back fins was bent over. I got a block of wood or a 2x4 and a jack, and jacked that fin out. Now, guaranteed this probably had a lot of body filler in it, but it looked fairly good when it was done. Repainted it again for I think the third time. And this is kind of where it was at that point. And this is when I traded it off for a 61 Bonneville convertible, which is another story. So I think that's kind of a quick synopsis of this car, of what I can remember anyway. Oh, I did put vinyl black seat covers in it, new carpets, and all that kind of stuff too. I spent a lot of time, but more or less a little money and a lot of time on this car.
And the crazy part about it is it wasn't even quite a 10-year-old car at the time.
But it sure went through hell.
But you think about that as far as doing all that to a 2015 in today's world.
And I was 16 years old.
So, nobody would even think about anything like that today. So that's kind of, like I said, wasn't necessarily his very first car, but this was the first one that he kept and drove and actually had a lot of fun in, and started really learning how to do stuff. Because the Fords, you did paint one of them, right?
I painted the first one.
And the other ones were just kind of clean up and polish up and spit shine.
Yeah. This car I actually had when I turned 16.
The Chevy.
I had this car when I turned 16. All the other ones were prior to being 16.
So this is the first one you drove regularly into.
This is the one. And this car would get second and third gear scratch about every time I left the house, just because it could.
That was a lot later, probably 10 years later, when he swapped those Buicks and those engines in those Buicks. When you did those Electras we talked about, you swapped them all. And you picked up the cherry picker at like 11 and took it back at 5.
Yeah.
I actually, believe it or not, old school, today is his birthday. He's down here on his birthday.
Yeah, I pulled the motor out of that car. We put some extra 2x4s across the Raptors in my dad's garage and took the motor out with a come along.
In the Chevy?
In the 57 Chevy. And put it back in with it the same way. And by the way, I got that thing back together and it started right up. I took it down to a local shop because I didn't have a timing lighter or dual meter or nothing. And we got it down there and he adjusted it out. And he says, I don't hear a thing wrong with it. He said, take it and drive it. So I did. And I drove it hard.
But there again, think about that. A lot of guys have lifts in their garages anymore. Imagine swapping a motor with a come along and some extra beams out of the rafters of the garage. That's kind of crazy. How about a Hudson badge? I'm sure you guys are getting thirsty. Got the Scout body hanging from the rafters. That works. So anyway, that kind of catches Pete's question about Dad's first car, the one he actually drove, the one he did a lot of work to, and really kind of started, learning a ton of stuff. And like I said, some of the guys he used to run around with in Russell, sometimes we have to talk about some of that with La Palm, and a lot of you guys probably haven't heard of R.C. Williams, but his car was the 1971 NHRA Top Gas World Champion, which is, and that car is here. I need to do some videos on it, but it's been restored and it's still here. But anybody out here want to strap themselves behind a pair of blown 354 Hemis? Because that's what they were running in Top Gas. Twin engine, blown 354 Hemis. So there was a lot of guys over there in Russell that had a lot of good influence. And that's how, you learned a lot of stuff back then. So
my boss was a hot rodder by the name of Dean Wheeler. You look up crazy in the dictionary, there's a little picture of him there because he was a wild man when it comes to cars. He had a black highboy roadster that he was drag racing. It was a glass body car, but it was a beautiful car. I was with him one day and he stood that thing straight up on end and brought it down and just wrecked the front end of that car. Just bent everything up on it. It's in a
some Popular Hot Rodding did an article.
Popular Hot Rodding magazine.
I've got that magazine. We'll have to get that out. Was it like in 1968 or something like that? Mm-hmm. Which car do you regret getting rid of the most?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I love that 61 Bonneville convertible, but I kind of got one of those back.
You bought another one of those, so
yeah. I always wanted to get another 64. I had a 64 Bonneville convertible after that, but that car never did trip my trigger that much. I had a 65 Caprice 4-door hardtop that I had actually had when we got married, and I was going to college because I had to have something cheap to drive. I'd like to have another one of those cars maybe, but wouldn't have to be a 4-door hardtop. But that's probably why I picked that 65 out of the promo box. I've always loved 65 Chevys. I actually did a 65 Impala red one.
I remember that red one.
That one I bought and flipped. I don't know where it's at in the book, but Had a lot of cars over the years. A lot of cars. What I was looking back at some of my scrapbooks, and the dealership that I worked at, the boss did not like F bodies. If we would trade for a Firebird or a Camaro, almost every one of them went back to the wholesale row, and I ended up buying most of them. I was looking through some of my stuff the other day, and there was a sweet looking like a 78 Z28 that I bought and flipped, a T-top car, which now I wished I had one, and I'm sure I just flipped that. I had a really sharp 72 split bumper rally sport that I sold really cheap. I think I bought it for $400 or $500. I think I ended up. This is a long story, kind of, because I was building a house at the time in the country out in Glacier where the cars were kept, and my neighbor wanted that Camaro so bad, but he didn't have any money, so I think I sold it to him for like $28.50, but he had to work it off at $5 an hour. And he did. And so I got a lot of work out of that car for not much money. So he probably, in my case, he was working for about 50 cents an hour, but he was happy and I was happy. So
You got a lot of the house built for that.
yeah.
The worst car you ever had, and Terry's going off on the Volkswagen thing. My sister's on here with us right now. She doesn't like the Volkswagen pickup. I like the Volkswagen pickup, but so what's the worst car that you can remember?
That I had? Oh, a lot of the cars I didn't have that long. That's one of the worst ones. After we driving, I bought a, can't remember what year the white Eldorado was, 82 Eldorado, that was going to be kind of a fixer up and drive. And that thing was just a problem child from the day I got it and got rid of it fairly quick. Back in the day, I didn't really have many bad cars. If I did, I made them good cars. I didn't really have all that many different cars over the years as far as daily drivers go. I kept cars quite a while, as far as, just daily use cars. I did buy one new car that probably maybe I would have liked to have kept. That was a 71 Pontiac T37 Le Mans. When I was working at the Pontiac dealership, there was a leftover T37 that I bought really reasonable. Oh, well, here's one I would regret getting rid of. I had a 66 Catalina it was a 4-door hardtop, but had a 421 HO with 8 lugs, which I don't, Chad, really don't remember that car. You never would.
I never remember that car at all. No.
Yeah. And that car was just stupid fast and almost scared me. And I was out with a couple of friends one night. Well, I bought it. Well, I went to work for the Pontiac dealership, and it was one of those rainy day cars. The guy had traded it in by the name of Al Yost. Nobody knows that name with Chad, but this guy was an old, crazy, go-fast guy. And it was sitting there because they sold the car, and somebody, the time of year went out of it, and it bent the valves in the head. So it was one of those things that we got caught up in the shop. It was sitting there to be worked on. Well, I ended up taking the project on because it was the car had 3 deuces on it, which intrigued me. Well, this is back in the days of the GTOs and the Judges and warranty motors. So I pulled a set of GTO Judge heads off and put them on that 421 HO and put the tri-power on it, and ended up getting the car running, and it run good. So I ended up buying the car. In fact, I think that's what I traded that 65 Caprice off was for that 66 Catalina. And this car was sharp. I mean, it was a white 4-door hardtop with black interior with 8 lugs. And maybe that's still why I love 4-door hardtops. But this car was killer fast. It had high gears in it. If you held it to the floor on a dead run, it would go into 3rd gear at 110. And then it was just starting to talk. And I had it going so fast. We went out one night, and I don't know how fast we were going because the white line was solid, and the power poles looked like picket fences. People say that, but this was actually happening. Well, the next morning, the oil pressure light was on, and I think I kind of halfway made me knock the rods out of it that night. So I ended up selling that car rather quick. And that's when I ended up getting that 71 T37. And that's when I just got married and was kind of slowing down and didn't have much money. And so we had that car for a long, long time. Probably, I don't know. Well, I had it till 76. And then I bought that new 76 Delta 88. So we had it like 5 years. So, and I've had a lot of good cars over the years. Never did really have much junk. Always pretty good cars.
Well, the crazy part about that is that was all in a Ford or hardtop. And it was ordered that way.
Yeah.
The guy specifically ordered that way. 421 HO, 3 deuces and 8 lugs on a 4-door Catalina.
Cast iron headers. I had bolted the headers a couple times and run it with the headers open on it. It basically had just great big dumps on the side of the back of the header, just like a regular header. And you just tied the exhaust pipe to the side, and it was just like a big, gigantic cast iron header. I'm sure you've seen them in catalogs and stuff. Those headers would be worth a fortune today.
How many cars do you have right now? Big Job asked.
Good cars at the house, counting my drivers. We just went through that with my friend. I think it was 26.
So there's still 26 there. Then I've got 20 some next door. So we're pushing 50 altogether. So anyway, been having a lot of fun with that. You guys want Dad to do a full story time on one that he flipped to? We got one of those ready. If you guys are interested, we can roll into that too. And kind of keep going with things. Just you guys tell us what you want to hear. Just as always, this is always interactive. Yeah, you guys are ready to go. I did get a ton of stuff ready for auctions a little later tonight too, if you guys want to do auctions. But if you guys are, everybody says keep going. So we'll go ahead and roll into a regular story time like I normally do. And we'll go ahead and get going into that. And there again, keep the questions coming. If you guys are having fun, just let us know. We'll kind of keep working our way through this stuff. So anyway, we'll move on to one that we've got ready for tonight. Let me find the pictures. You can start telling them about it.
This is a 1974 Chevy half-ton pickup. I bought it. It was an old oil field truck that plain Jane, no options, no chrome, just a bare basic bones pickup. Small block 350 with a 3-speed on the column. I think you can see it now. That is the original color. It was a green. I dulled it up as much as I could and went through it from one end to the other. Just kind of an idea of what I'd done. I'm reading through these and having Chad read through them bring back a lot of memories. I don't remember doing all this work at the time, but it's all on paper, so I must have done it. I repacked the front wheel bearings. I turned the rotors, new front brake pads. I tuned the engine, put in a timing gearing chain, installed new seat covers, cleaned the interior, installed a windshield, put on new tires and wheels. I lube oil filter, R&R'd the door weather strips, installed armrests on the doors, because remember, this is a cheap, you didn't have armrest. I put a rear bumper on it. I installed air conditioning, installed grill emblems and a new hood and a hood ornament, trying to make this look like a little higher class pickup. New clutch and pressure plate, repaired wipers and washers, replaced the rear brakes, ground the valves, overhauled the carburetor, installed side moldings, installed drip railings around the windows, installed radiators overflow tank, repaired the backup lights, replaced body damage and painted the whole truck, replaced lug nuts and bolts. Must have been for the new wheels. There was no labor there. That was just parts. Safety inspection. Oh, installed interior lights. Safety inspection. Installed. Can't read it. Oh, tailgate moldings. Put fancy molding on the tailgate. And a new shifter knob. And wheel opening moldings. And advertising.
What year was it?
It was 1974.
But no, what year did you do this? What?
Oh,
right here. 77.
In 77. I bought the truck from the local Dodge dealership on April the 16th of 77. So it was a 3-year-old truck. But it, like I say, it had a hard life. I paid $850 for it and $25 sales tax. Total of $875. There's piles and piles and piles of tickets on this one. I actually put this in my dad's name because at the time, Kansas had a law you could only have so many cars in your name in 1 year to avoid having a dealer's license. So Chad had cars in his name, Terry, my daughter, had cars in her name, my wife had cars in her name, and I must have run out of people, so I started putting them in my dad's name. We've got a ticket. Some of these tickets. See, a windshield was a used windshield, was $30. No, that was a new windshield for $30. $30 for a new windshield. Must have bought the wheels used from 281 Auto Salvage. I paid $81 for 4 tires and 4 wheels. This is an ad to sell it for $5.75. 1974 half-ton pickup, excellent condition, air conditioned, price to sell. See at 2210 25th Street. That was, let's see, who's the date? 8/23.
Yep,
8/23 of the same year. Put a set of seat covers on it. Seat covers are $25.90. This is a large ticket of brake pads, wheel opening moldings, a used rear bumper. The total complete ticket was $83.35 with a bunch of new old stock trim on there. Gaskets and seals, that was $10. AC hose, $10.63. AC brackets were $37.41. Moldings for $15.40. Drip rails around the windows were $9.84 for all of them. And Tenolidin for $1.94. A gallon of DuPont, that must have been thinner because it was $6.29. This is valve grind gasket set and 2 valves for $27.41. It's a duplicate. Carburetor kit for $5.68. Moldings for the grill and the hood ornament was $27. All 4 wheel opening moldings were $25.40. Rebestos brake shoes were $7.50. Gaskets must have been for the valve grind gasket set also, $9.67. I'm not sure what this is. Champion. It must have been a rebuilt starter or something. It was $24.70 because there was a core on it. BCA bearings were $7.41. A gallon of Ditzler paint was $12.10. And some thinners and hardeners were total paint for the thinner and the hardener and the paint was $24.26. That includes the paddles and the strainers. Oh, here's some more paint and material. That must have been primer. Here's the paint on this ticket is $21.75. That's for the set. Yeah, it's marked here. And the rest of this is just miscellaneous body materials. The whole ticket was $95.35. That was to mount tires, safety inspection, insurance for $29.39. This is one of the one vehicle I was really not that proud of because I spent a ton of time and a ton of money on fixing it at the time. And all said and done, I did make some fairly good money on it, but as you can see, pretty much restored it and put a lot of time into it. And as far as I can tell by looking at my notes, I think I sold it for $25.50, and I made, after everything was said and done, I made $1,055 on it. Which, when did I buy that? I bought it April the 16th of 77. And when did they sell it?
919.
919 of the same year, so of 77. So
you had it for 5 months.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one that I wouldn't want to do again for what time and effort I spent into. I figured, pickups were like always, were selling hot, but for some reason I just couldn't get anybody to bite on this truck. I had it for quite a while before I finally did get it sold. If I had it to do all over again, I would have just kept it and drove it. But at the time, I needed the money to buy something else. So that it got sold.
And did you put aftermarket air in it?
Yeah, I put an underdash aftermarket air in it.
So that's why you had to take it for the compressor brackets.
Yeah.
And then put an aftermarket unit under the dash.
What I did is I put a GM the big OA6 compressor on it. So it looked fairly stock under the hood, but then I used the underdash air unit inside, which I did that on a couple different vehicles.
But it's crazy to think it was a 74 pickup, and he did all this in 77. Painted it, had to put seat covers on it, put all new trim on it, and
ground the valves.
And did the top end of the engine on a 3-year-old pickup. There again, think about that today, going and buying a 2022 Silverado and having to do that kind of work to it. But that's why we do this. That's why this story time stuff is so much fun and so interesting. Taking that snapshot back into time.
I do one thing I remember about this thing. It was so saturated with oil underneath because it was an oil field truck. It had no chance of ever rusting out.
I think the only thing I remember about it, I think I had to go get stitches one time, and I think we took that.
Could have been.
I don't remember. It seemed like I did something and I got cut. I don't know what I did, but it seems like they had to take me to the hospital or something in that, but I don't remember any of the specifics.
This was back before, long before I had a dealer's license. So every one of these vehicles, I had to put in my name, buy insurance, buy a tag, and, to keep it legal to sell them. You couldn't just jump titles on them. It was kind of an iffy situation to do that. So I did everything by the book. So it cost more money, but it was legal. So,
yeah, but that way all the paperwork stayed straight. And Oh no, it was an oil field truck, wasn't it? It was like a.
It was an oil field. It was a pumper truck or whatever because it was just covered in oil when I bought it. It was, and it wasn't terribly wrecked, but there was just little dinghies all over it. It took quite a bit of body work to make it look straight, but I'm sure it wasn't perfect, but it came out to be a pretty nice old truck.
And then you, of course, added all the trim.
Yeah, the trim made a world of difference on it.
Because it probably didn't have wheel opening moldings on it.
No wheel opening. Didn't have any trim. It was about the cheapest pickup you could buy at the time. 3-speed on the tree. Don't even remember it had a radio in it.
I was going to look at the wheel opening molding ticket because I was curious about that when you see it.
Yeah, it was like, I read it was like $20-some for all of them.
You got a lot of stuff for this thing.
Yeah, there's a ton of tickets on that one.
Here they are, all 4 wheel opening moldings. 2 of them were $5.97 a piece, and the other ones were $6.73 a piece. Sales tax and everything, all 4 new GM wheel opening moldings, $26.17.
And then that tailgate molding is on there also, pretty close to that. And then I bought the crumb that goes around the grill, and then I bought the hood ornament, stand-up hood ornament on it to give it a little bit of class. I remember putting that on it.
So anyway, but that's why we do this. That's why we're having so much fun with it. Basically a fully restored 1974 Chevy pickup in 1977. Dean made it back tonight. So anyhow, that pretty much takes care of story time for tonight. Firsthand, way more detailed than me just flipping through paperwork, giving you the specifics, because he did it all. It just happened to be 48 years ago now.
It's hard to remember some of the details. Some of the pain in the butt ones you remember better than the easy ones.
The easy ones weren't around very long. So.
And this was a pain in the butt one.
So anyhow, what do you guys want to do now? What else did you want to do?
If anybody has any questions or anything, we can do that. And then I'll probably cut out unless you do auctions.
Okay. I assume you guys want to do auctions tonight. Just a wild guess and shot in the dark. But so anyway, what else does anybody want to know? Have any other questions about how Dad got here, or any of his cars or anything like that? We can sure squeeze any of that in and talk about any of that while we've got him here. So we'll keep an eye on comments here for a second and see if anything else pops up, and get into some of that stuff if you guys have specific questions. But so far, it seems like we're having a lot of fun. We've had a great crowd on tonight, a lot of activity, a lot of comments. So go ahead and throw up anything else you may have.
You might show them the thickness of that binder compared to most of them on this.
On this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork in this stack. Some of these, there's only a half dozen tickets in there. This thing has a ton of paperwork in it. Look at this stack of tickets alone. No, I only did that to the 55. That was just the 55 Chevy that I allegedly beat the other side in on. So I don't think I beat that one in.
And it wasn't allegedly either. It happened.
But that's the crazy part about it. That was a 3-year-old pickup, and it needed all that work. Any regrets? Have you ever had a Vega, and did they rust as badly in Kansas as they do here?
I had a Vega Camback that I traded for. I bought a 96 Olds 98, 96 Olds 88 Holiday 2-door hardtop in 1975, before they even came out. I drove that car and right before the 77s came out. And so I had it almost 2 years and sold it and actually made money on it because I took a Vega Camback in on trade. and that's the one I sold to Bruce, my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
And it was almost a brand new car, and didn't have it very long. It was really a good car, except for a door fell off of it one time when he was driving it. I don't know what the story was behind that. He was away at college. He got it fixed. It wasn't too big a deal. I think maybe the pins come out of the door or something, but it was a good car for him, and that's the only Vega I ever owned.
Any cars you wish you could get back? That was kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah. A lot of the ones I wanted, I got back. I have that 51 Pontiac ambulance. I got it back. I had the General Lee that I sold. I got it back. I have a 61 Bonneville convertible, although it's not the same car. It's a nice car, and I've got that back. There's several cars that I had over the years that I had got back and resold again because I maybe got tired of them. There's some I'm glad I never sold, and one's that 73 Riviera that I bought in 77, 73 Riviera GS that I've just got done doing a lot of work to it, and that's one I'm really happy I didn't sell. So probably not any big regrets.
Just got to buy a 65 Chevy now.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind finding a 65 Chevy.
But
I'm out of room right now. I have everything full, so I got to do something for space.
The only foreign car I ever remember is somebody traded in that little tiny Honda that one time.
Yeah, I traded for a little tiny Honda Civic on a 75 LeSabre that had a timing belt problem, and I put nothing in the car. And a friend of mine and I got a timing belt put on it and sold it right away. And I didn't have that thing for 2 weeks. And I didn't want the damn thing, but it was free, so I took it. That's what it amounted to.
And I remember the guy that bought it, he drove like a dump truck.
No, he was a farmer, and that was Brining that bought that, and he would take it out to Colorado in his wheat truck, and when he got out there, he would have a car to drive.
Oh, so they literally put it in the back of the wheat truck,
Right.
And then when they got to, they could unload it, and then they had a little car to run around with.
Yeah.
So they literally put it in. It was tiny enough they could put it in the back of the wheat truck and go out there and then unload it and have a car. I remember something like that.
This is before semis. This is just a 4.5 ton Chevy wheat truck.
Because that was in the early 80s probably.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, like a C60, C70, something like that.
Right.
They put it in the back and away they went. So.
He come and measured it, and it fit in his wheat truck, and that's all they cared about. And bought it, and it was not a great car. It smoked and used oil, but it did what he wanted to do.
What year was that? Like, was it 72, 74?
It was like a 75 or 6, I think.
Okay.
No, it had to be older than that. It was probably a 74, 75, something like that.
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't think I probably didn't take any pictures of that one.
It wasn't around long enough. Nobody cared.
Yeah, and it was an import.
Yeah. Did selling used cars ever cause any problems in local car lots?
No, actually, I worked for the dealership, the Buick Cadillac dealership. And I went and talked to my boss about it and told him what I wanted to do. And he says, I don't care. What you do is not going to affect a bit what we do. In fact, 90% of the cars that I bought at the dealership there that I flipped. So it was not an issue at all.
The 51 Pontiac, actually, there's some pictures in here. We'll do a full video on that car because that car was going to take at least a full video.
Starting right there.
Yeah, it starts over here, actually.
Oh, yeah.
These are, what's this, probably 71?
There's a date on there, 70 or 7. No, it would have been 69.
Was it painted in 69? Because these are painted. It's not painted here.
It was painted about a year later than that, so probably.
So these are probably
70, 71. There's no dates on there, is there?
Unless there's something on these.
Some of the pictures might have dates on them.
No, there's nothing on there.
Okay.
So this has been, this would have been around 1970.
Well, Scott's, 50, and Scott was about 4 then, so.
So here's one. We'll do a full video on this, but where's my get the angle of the dangle right here. There it is in 1970. Now, it so that was in 1970, and then you sold that in what, 72, 73? 73. Did you sell that when you bought the house on 25th?
Yeah, I had a friend. I didn't want to sell the car, and we were working on a house and needed some money because money was tight in those years, and had kind of a hippie friend that I knew he was selling marijuana at the time, so he had money, and he kept offering me more and more and more money for it, and I finally buckled and took his money and sold it to him. And then found it back in 03 in Mesa, Arizona, and then ended up buying it back, which is a long story. That's a long story there too.
So yeah, so we'll do a whole video on that because we've got more pictures of this from actually the story goes all the way back to 1951 because it was put into service new in 51 in Russell, where Dad was born at. So you knew the car its whole life. You'd seen it around town its whole life.
Yeah.
And so now it's went full circle, took it back to Russell. The auto artistry, our friend Mike Shook over there built the car, and Pete says it definitely looks a lot better now. It come out pretty nice. So, and it was a full complete build. It's a neat car, Eric. Short wheelbase ambulance, same body as a sedan delivery. Only a handful were ever made. Finding another one would have been almost impossible, much less finding the exact same car halfway across the country 30 years later. So it's pretty slick. So the guys that were here last year for the gathering did see it, and obviously you'll see it again this year if we don't have the video done on it by then. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool car. So mini bikes, never got into mini bikes. Brian, don't know anything at all about Honda Trails. Never got into those. So,
had a few Hondas over the years, but they were just quick flips. Didn't have them long enough to learn anything about them.
Wholesale or retail sales. Retail sales are always better. Usually make more money on them than selling wholesale.
99% of what I sold was retail.
So anyway, obviously, like I said, there's a ton of stories on that ambulance that are going to definitely easily comprise a full video, no doubt about that. So, like I said, some of you guys saw it last year, and some more you guys will see it coming up this spring. So,
and it is running this year. We got the fuel pump put on it. I need to get it out, get it cleaned up, but it is running and driving again.
And there are a few pictures of it back from when it was in service. Don't you have one black and white picture of it back?
That was taken in 53. Also got a hold of the guy that actually drove the car for his dad, and they would leave Russell and go to Kansas City. You got to remember, this is before interstate, all 2-lane highways through every little town. They hit red lights and sirens all from Russell to Kansas City, which is about 250 miles. And he said because the pain pills would only last 4 hours back in the day. So they had to get there before the pain wore off. He said they would dump the guy off at the hospital and buy 2 cases of beer and come back in 4 hours. They'd red light and siren both ways.
Which is really handy if you were drinking and driving, because then they never reason to pull you over. So
he wrote me a little letter about it, and I've got it in the car. We can, show you that letter too. So it's kind of neat that he actually took the time to write something down about it. Took the car to Russell has what they call a Periesta every 10 years, and it actually ends up on being like the first year of the decade, like every 41, 51, 61, 71. Well, I had the car done. Would have been, what year was that? Did we get that done?
Probably 05, 06, 07.
So it would have been 11. I had it over there for the parade, and the guy was supposed to be there to meet me and look at the car. Well, he lived in Topeka, and long story short, he was doing some financial advising for people, and he was kind of a Bernie Madoff Jr., everybody found out. So when people found out he was in Russell, he didn't stay in town very long. So I never got a chance to hook up with him. So I'm sure he's passed away by now because he was in his upper 80s then. So.
Yeah, that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So
it's probably okay to talk about him.
Yeah. So anyway, anybody else got anything else, or should we start working into auction stuff? What do you guys want to do? It's kind of up to you. If we're kind of done with questions and answers for the time being, we can kind of move forward, and I'm sure Dad can come back some other time. You guys get a chance to think about it. But you guys asked about doing something special on the 250th, and Dad said he'd come down, so that's what we did. And it sure sounds like you guys enjoyed it. So anyway, what do you guys want to do? What are we ready for? You want to move into auction stuff? Any other questions? Anything else we want to talk about? Thanks, Pete. Appreciate that. But it seems like a lot of you did enjoy it, and hope you learned some more stuff. I hope it clarified some things for you, and had a lot of fun doing it. So,
and by the way, I enjoyed it also.
Well, good. So it's that's the whole purpose. That's why we're all here. Austin can't wait to get here again. So, Bill, you just need to find out if, are you going to bring a trainer with you, or what are you going to do? How are you going to get that Oldsmobile back on the 26th? Got to figure that out.
Small unmarked bills.
Small unmarked bills. All right. Sounds great. Well, are you done, or anything else you want to say? Or
I'm done if everybody else is done.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, we'll start getting ready for auction stuff and start rolling to some of that stuff. There's Way Camp. So anyway, I guess we'll keep moving forward then. We'll give you a Hudson badge to kind of start thinking about things, getting ready for the auction. We'll give you an Auburn badge to really get things ready for the auction. Because we've got some cool stuff tonight for the 250th episode as well. So, if you guys want to take a break for a second, we're going to go ahead and get things regrouped around here and start getting some stuff rounded up and ready to go. Like and subscribe. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Okay. Okay, let's get back and get rolling here. Okay, let's get squared up here. Dad's still on crutches, so I want to make sure he got out to the truck. Got all the auction stuff rounded up here. And let's see where we're at here. Yeah, those Trail 90s, I don't think those things have gotten crazy popular, Brian. Just kind of never anything I really knew much about. So thanks for throwing that up there, Pete, on the gathering. Posted a photo of the 51 on the Facebook page. Glenn had a shot of the ambulance. Her husband is a crop consultant, and they've started doing some farming, and one of her boys is starting to farm full time. So that's kind of the industry he's in. So she just kind of tied the two together. Yep, there we got a picture of the ambulance up. Glenn threw a picture of the ambulance up in its current form on the No Buddies page. So you guys can check that out as well. And like I said, we'll be bringing you a full video on that. Lots and lots of stories on that car. Long term plan there to get that where it's at. So anyway, all right. Get with Pete if your name is not on the list for the gathering. Make sure you get in on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Glad you guys enjoyed Dad stopping by tonight. It was a great time. I enjoyed having him here, and you guys got to hear some of the stories firsthand that way. So, yes, Kevin, I do have it. I did get it, so we're good. I just had the one button, so I hadn't shipped it yet, but yeah, we're good. Oh, speaking of Pioneer Village, real quick, I did tally that up. We're just over 500 on Pioneer Village. Plus, Randall with the Nut Farm sent an extra 100 in for the one he did strictly on his own last year. He sent the 100 in for that. As a group, we're just over $500. Probably going to be trying to get up there mid-March to Pioneer Village, but that's where we're at. I did want to bring that up with you guys as well. So, auction time. Let's get into some cool auction stuff. As always, we'll hold up a piece. We'll talk about it. We'll point out any flaws. We'll talk about that particular car. We may give you some dimensions on it so you guys know what we're talking about size-wise. As we're doing that, if it's a piece that you're interested in, throw a bid up there. We're all on YouTube tonight, so everybody's going to see it. You're not going to be bidding against anybody on Facebook that you can't see. So perfect, Eric. Check that out, and hope you can join us that week. We are at the halfway point, so it's going to start filling up here pretty soon, I think. Just trying to keep it managed is why we're putting a cap on it. But awesome, Eric. Hope you can make it. And we will go, as we started a few weeks ago, we were going 90 seconds. I just got the timer rider on my phone. I keep it right here next to the comments. So I'm watching my phone and comments at the same time. I will tell you when 30 seconds are gone. I will tell you when 60 seconds are gone. And I will and then we will be at the 90 seconds. Whatever I see on my screen at 90 seconds, I will announce as the high bidder of that particular piece. So anyway, shipping, this is also, there's a few caps in there, but we'll just figure shipping in on everything tonight is included. And we'll go ahead and kind of get real. Shipping in the 48 states is included. Non-U.S. buyers, you're more than welcome to play. However, you will have to get me paid in U.S. funds and be responsible for non-U.S. shipping. This thing kind of feeds itself as we sell more stuff, we buy more stuff type thing. So spending a fortune shipping a couple packages out of the country would not be very productive for the entire project overall. So anyhow, Michael Brown's here. Let's start off with a few things here, a few lower dollar pieces. Kind of get in the swing of things. People can kind of feel get an idea for where their delay is at. Everybody has a delay. Some people it's 5 seconds, some people it's 20 seconds. So we'll kind of play that by ear as we kind of get into this, and you guys can get an idea of what I'm seeing versus what you're seeing. On the first few pieces, I will announce all the bids that I see as soon as I see them, even if they're not the high bidder, so you guys can kind of get a feel for what I'm seeing. We'll start off with let's just start with this. This is a thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. A cheaper can, but a cool can. So it is rusted out on the bottom, but the front looks pretty good. So you guys tell me what you think. This is a metal quart Phillips 66 Trop Arctic. Now right here where it counts, it doesn't look too bad. We see the tropical over here. We see the Arctic over here. We see the orange Phillips shield. So this is earlier being an orange shield. Trop Arctic all-weather motor oil. Now the bottom is rusted out, but it sits like this, so you don't see the bottom. What is kind of funny about this can, and what I think makes it kind of unique, is everybody remembers the church key to poke a hole in the top of these cans, right? When you were going to poke the triangle hole in it to drain them or to pour them into something. Somebody tried to, I don't know, they were going like Abominable Snowman on this thing. Eric at 10, check out the top of this thing. I don't know what they were thinking, but it looks like the Abominable Snowman from like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with his fangs. So the back still looks pretty clear on it. So the top is rough but unique. The bottom is shot, but like I said, not a bad looking can by any means. Phillips 66 Trop Arctic, probably 60s era. Eric at 10. There we go. We're on the timer and we're live on this Trop Arctic can. Kevin, 12. It's still, you're right, Pete. It's a good looking can. Cream City's here. Kevin at 12, almost to that 30-second mark. We're going 90 seconds. This thing ticks along pretty quick. There's 30 seconds gone. A lot of people did that to prop them up and, to drain the rest of the oil into another can. I guess that makes sense. Kevin at 12. And there's 1 minute gone. 1 minute gone. 30 seconds left. Kevin at 12. I still keep thinking I need to keep an eye on Facebook. Kevin at 12, as this one's winding down, we're coming down to the end. Matt, 15. And that does it. Matt at 15. That's a great looking can for 15. Even though it is rusted out, well worth 15. Cool piece. Let's catch a play. Oh, I know what. I got a plate here that it's another good starter piece. It's a little bit rough, but somebody asked me if I had one. I don't remember who it was. And I did find one in this batch of plates that just came in a couple weeks ago. So we'll go ahead and do this one as another good starter piece because it's a little bit rougher, but kind of get a feel for where we're at. Somebody asked if I had more 57 plates because we have not had very many 1957 plates, just a couple. So we've got another 57 Kansas plate. It is a little bit rough, red and white, but somebody asked about doing another one, so here it is. Like I said, I don't, for some reason, don't find a lot. Okay, it was Kenny. Okay. Well, there it is. I didn't remember who it was, but I know somebody asked about 57 plates. So there it is. This one does have some paint loss here in the middle. It looks like it had a bend in it. Overall, most of the paint is there. It's not bent up too bad now, but I think it was bent. Backside still looks pretty decent. So there we go. I did come up with another 57 plate. And like I said, it come out of this batch that I just got. Norma has not been on here in a while. Actually, it's been quite a while. She jumped in on a few Toy Tuesdays probably a year ago, but haven't seen Norma in a long time. So hope everything is well with her. I know she did have some family issues. I think she lost a family member or two, and that kind of really kind of threw things off course for her. Balin wire at 30. So, I think, I know that changed some, but no, we haven't had Norma on here in quite a while. So hopefully everything is good with her. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the timer. Balin wire at 30 on the 1957 Kansas 2-digit 91 plate. Kenny. Early shot at Kenny there. Probably 4 months since Toy Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember Big Job, but I know I thought it'd been a little longer than that, but hopefully it was just about that long ago. 30 seconds gone. Balin wire at 30 as we crest the first 30 seconds. Balin wire killed Kenny. One minute gone, 30 seconds left to go. Oh, were you still? Oh, no, that was really old. The Trop Arctic can is long gone, Balin wire. We better hold up here. We better hold up. Yeah, that was. So if you were on the can, Balin wire, that just popped up. So you weren't on the plate. So I stopped. I shut this down. Let's start. Let's regroup here. And you tell me if you were still on the can, Balin wire. So we might everybody ought to probably stop and refresh, and we'll start. We'll regroup here and restart this 57 plate here in a little bit. So if everybody wants to hit refresh, because Balin wire, that was an old bid hung up on the Trop Arctic can. So if everybody's ready, we're going to go ahead and fire this one up again on the 57 Kansas plate 91. So if you guys are all ready, we'll start this one over since that was old. Kenny's refreshed with ads, of course. Well, maybe we better give everybody a few more seconds if they're getting ads when they refresh. Kenny still has a chance. Yep. Nut Farm's good to go. We'll give everybody a few more seconds in case they're hung up with a few ads. Okay, are we ready? Starting over, 0 bids on the 57 Kansas plate. 2-digit 91, starting at 0. So here we go. We're going to kick this one off, starting it over. Hopefully everybody is refreshed, up to date, and current, and get your bids in on this one. Nut Farm at 10. Dean at 12. Kenny at 12. Okay, perfect, Balin wire. Yep, glad we got that straightened out. Joe's here. 30 seconds in. Alec at 15. Yep, Joe, you missed it. We already did the promos. Yeah, we couldn't get on Facebook at all tonight. Facebook would not work at all. I tried to set it up 5 times, would not go. You can go back and watch it, Joe. I think you'll enjoy it. I was actually watching for you because it was your idea. So, Alec at 15 as we hit the 1 minute mark. And there's 1 minute gone, 30 seconds left. Alec at 15. Alec at 15 as we're getting closer to the end on this one. Time to get those last shots in. And that does it. Alec at 15. What all do we got here? Don't forget to hit the like button. Appreciate that, Glenn. We got a lot of cool stuff. Lots of plates, lots of caps, some toys. Got a few Auburn Court Duesenberg pieces in the boxes as well. So we'll see how things keep moving along here. I got some promos too. Anybody interested in promos? Let's do another orange. Let's do a badge. One that we looked at last week. I was going to sell it last week and we forgot. We looked at it last week. The 1974 Chevy Impala grill emblem. Where are our bow tie fans at? Guys, remember this one from last week? Chrome plated pop metal. 5.5 inches long. I think we could probably do that, Kenny. I think we'll probably do that. Remember, this was V'd to fit on the front grille of a 74 Impala. And it's just over 1.5 inches tall. So, anybody interested in this, or should I get some more badges with it? This is the only thing. Wait a minute. I wonder if I get any more Chevy badges in here. Kevin at 10. Yeah, we got another Chevy badge too. Thought we shouldn't just sell one. We should sell another one. How about this? This is earlier. It's a little rougher, but this is like off of an old truck. The studs are broken, but it is pop metal, old school block Chevrolet. So we're going to sell that with it as well. Kevin L at 10. This is 7.25 long on this Chevrolet block script emblem by 3/4 tall. I knew we had another Chevy emblem in there to go with it. All right, there we go. Kevin at 10. Let's get this thing on the timer. Dean, 12. Alec, 14. And there's the 30-second marker. 1 minute left to go. Kevin at 15. Dean at 16. One minute gone. 30 seconds left to go. Dean at 16. Coming out of the end of this one, Dean at 16. Few seconds left to go. Pete, 22. And that does it. Kevin had a 20, but it didn't take out Pete. Pete at 22. Yeah, that's one thing about it. If the Chevy emblems that Pete doesn't have, he's usually going to be shooting at you. Let's see. How about a couple of toys? I'm going to sell these together. I should sell them separate because they're pretty cool. But I'm going to sell them as a pair because I got them as a pair and I want to keep them as a pair. They are really great looking Structos, but they need tires. Super chat, supercharged super chat from the Nut Farm. Buy you a Dr. Sweat's root beer. Supercharged super chat from the Nut Farm. Thanks, Nut Farm. All right. Anyway, back to this pair of toys. Like I said, they need tires, but I'm sure you can get tires for them. They pop right on. The axles are even still there. On these Structo Cadillacs. Look at these. One blue, one green. These appear to be original paint, but there are no tires on them. So the axles are here. I'm sure you can buy tires on eBay, pop them right on. I've been going to do that for a year. They've been laying there for probably a year thinking I'll get some tires for them and then they'll be ready to go. I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to sell them to you as they are with no tires on them. Eric 15, Dean 16. But the blue one, we'll spend a little bit of time on it. They do have a few chips and scratches, but they're 70 years old. But not bad. The green one has a little bit more chipping on the upper surfaces. Kenny at 20. Dean 21. But regardless, still great toys. Like I said, I'm sure you can probably buy tires for $10, and then you got great, awesome Structos. So, Dean at 21, I'm going to send you the pair of them. Like I said, I got them together. They kind of go together. They look pretty good together. Think they ought to stay together. Dean at 21, and we're live on the timer. Alec, 25. 30 seconds gone. 1 minute left. And there's the 1 minute mark. 30 seconds left. Alec at 25. Dean, 26. And that does it. X-Ray Dean at 26. I want to do something kind of different. I told you I got some extra ACD stuff out. And we're going to sell this. The package is bad on it. I should have taken the bolt out or the nut out of it. because it's kind of destroyed the package, but it still can be put back together. So I'm going to see. In fact, I'm just going to take this out. I'm just going to take that out. And then I can kind of show you this. And I would put it back together the way it is. This is actually the nut. But that's not the cool part, obviously. The package is rough, but it can still be put back together and saved. And this is what's so great about it. And it's 90 years old, so that's what's making it hard. But here it is. Like I said, it's just a nut. And I'll put the nut's going to go with it. But the nut being here in the package is kind of what messed it up. But it could still be, like I said, it needs to be laid back out flat and displayed. Brand new in the original cord package from 90 years ago. This is probably, I bet this is like an axle nut for the front wheel drive axle shafts. Based on the way it looks. Threaded on the inside. So, quality in every detail. What do you guys think? Any interest in this, even though the package is damaged? Because the package is obviously the coolest part. It would be kind of cool if it's an axle shaft nut for a for the front wheel drive axle, but Eric 20. So okay, so we do like it. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. So I'll probably put this like in a couple pieces of cardboard and then put the nut separate when I ship it. But brand new old stock in the cord package on this nut. "30 seconds gone." One minute gone, 30 seconds left. About ready to wind this one down. No other bidders other than Eric. And that does it. Eric at 20. Like I said, I will try to, sandwich this in cardboard and then put the nut on top of that before I ship it. So, cool piece. I actually did get a bunch of caps ready today, and we haven't even done one yet. So let's get a cap done. This one, I did repaint the letters on it because there was absolutely no paint left in it, and it made it kind of tough to see it, even though it was embossed. I think we've done a few of these caps over the years, but it's been a long time since we did one. And like I said, I did repaint the letters. This is a late 40s, early 50s era Nash. Check this one out. Man, that thing is bright. See the No Buddies page right there. No Buddies right there. This thing does have typical dings and dents, but obviously has an amazing shine. And like I said, I did repaint these letters and these letters are stamped in here, but there was absolutely no paint left in them at all. So you couldn't see anything just by looking at it. Backside, it is a metal base with a chrome cap over the top of it on this Nash. It is 10 inches in diameter. Kevin L. starting us off at 10 on the Nash cap. Haven't seen Jess and Rico. They will be here for the gathering. I do know that. But they haven't been on lately. But I know Jess goes into Ford, like she leaves like at 4:30 in the morning or something. So they get to bed pretty early. I actually like the dings. Eric at 15. And we're on the timer and rolling on the Nash cap. Alec, 25. But there again, for a display piece, I mean, it's great. You hang this up on the wall, the dings and dents just give it the character. You know it's the real deal. And like I said, that's why I went ahead and repainted the Nash in this one, just to really make it pop. So 30 seconds gone, 60 seconds left on the Nash cap. Yeah, but it always makes us think of Jess. See, you can hang them up. There we go. Look at that. 1 minute gone. Alec at 25. Ticking away. Alec at 25 on the Nash. Kevin, 27. And that does it. Kevin at 27. Perfect timing for Kevin. Got that in at about 127. Alec came back with 30, just didn't have enough time to do it. Kevin Brown at 27. Yep, that's right. Randy's sign right there. Randy Reininger did that for us. Right there. Yep, that was pretty much dead on timing. Okay, how about a plate? How about this plate? Plate number 250. Plate number 250. In fact, I'll actually mark it on the back. Sign it. You want me to sign it? I just marked it episode number 250 and dated it. If whoever buys it wants me to sign it, I'll sign it. Okay? I should write nobody's show on here somewhere, though. Okay. Nobody's show, episode 250, dated. And whoever went, Glenn 25, whoever is the high bidder, if you want me to sign it, I will sign it. But it is marked. That's not the answer, number one. It is marked official 250 for 250. And we'll get it on the timers. Handful of bids here. Dean at 26 is the current high bidder. As we started off on the timer, and we are live on the 250 tag. Glenn 30, 250 at 250. Kenny 30, Nut Farm at 30. Kevin L 32. Sign it on the front. If whoever buys it wants me to, I will. Glenn 35. They may not want me to sign it on the front, so I don't want to do anything anybody doesn't want done. 30 seconds gone. Glenn at 35, just under a minute left to go. Nut Farm, 40. One minute gone, 30 seconds left. Nut Farm at 40. They killed Kenny. Nut Farm at 40 as we're ticking away and coming down to the end of this thing. Glenn, 45. Few seconds left. Glenn at 45. Alec, 53, and that does it. Alec at 53 at like 129. But Alec at 53 got it done. So congratulations to Alec. Do you want anything else on here, Alec, or is that good with you? All right, I guess we're good. All right, what else we want to do next? Ooh. All right, we got another toy here that I've really been debating. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys. Leave the front the way it is. Okay, no problem, Alec. That's why I didn't write on it. That's why I wanted to mark the back, but I didn't want to write on the front unless somebody wanted me to. This next toy I've really had an issue with. It's been in the auction boxes for at least a year. So I'm going to throw it at you guys. You tell me what you think. And we'll see what we want to do with it. We'll see if you're interested in it. If there's good interest in it, we'll sell it. I've got it. I got another one right over there, but I just love this thing. It's so cool. It is a Tootsie. It is a great Tootsie. You guys are getting a little thirsty. That's right. There you go. Let's double whammy them. This Tootsie toy, it's actually toy and gas and oil all in one shot. Look at this thing. The Tootsie Toy Mobile Oil Bulk Truck. Tractor trailer, comes apart, hooks in, locks in, twisted, it comes apart. Original Tootsie piece. Nut Farm, 20. Kevin, 25. Axles are slightly bent, but this thing is original paint, original decals. Man, it's just so great. Like I said, I just love them. Even though I've got another one. The tractor looks pretty great up here. Sam, 26. We're getting close. I still can't think I can let anything go with that. Glenn, 30. Original paint on the front nose. Nut Farm, 30. All original tires are there. Just a great piece. It is overall length 9 inches. So it's 9 inches long. Looks like an International. That or a Mac. Nut Farm, 40. That's kind of what I was thinking. It had to be 40, and now I got to sell it. Jeez. All right. That's what I was thinking. Balin Wire, 38. Nut Farm at 40. That's kind of like I said, that's where I thought we had to at least be. I was kind of hoping you guys wouldn't get there, and then I could put it back away and put it with my other one. But I guess we're going to sell it. Nut Farm at 40. And I guess we're going to put it on the timer. Here we go. Nut Farm at 40 on the Tootsie mobile truck. It's great. That's why I don't want to sell it. But I've already got one. So that's why I thought, well, it could go to one of your guys' collections. But I figured it had to be somewhere in that window. Balin wire 45. It is great. It is awesome. 30 seconds gone. You guys keep saying it's so cool. I'm going to stop the timer and go hide it again because it is cool. Nut Farm 50. One minute gone. 1 minute left to go. You guys are making me feel bad for selling it now. Nut Farm at 50. About ready to wrap this one up. Nut Farm at 50. And that does it. Nut Farm at 50. Still don't like selling it, but I know that it's got a good home with the Nut Farm. No doubt about it. Yeah, I bet so, Glenn. I think they're great. What else we want to do, guys? Sounds great, Cream City. We'll see you next week. Let's see. I got a lot of really cool plates. A lot wider variety of plates than what we've had. Oh, this is hilarious. We'll do this one. I don't think this is the most valuable plate, but you will get a ton of laughs with this plate. Back in the 70s. Now, modular homes today are, for the most part, really well built. In fact, a lot of them are actually brought in and set on actual foundations over basements, things like that. Back in the 70s, the term mobile home had a little different meaning than what we're thinking of as a modular today that comes in. Mobile homes back in the 70s were a pretty big deal. Even like the movie Urban Cowboy. They lived in a trailer park where they moved them in there with trucks and took the wheels off. And so you think back about that time frame, and a lot of them were not great quality. They served a purpose, but they were not the highest quality, but they got the job done. There were whole communities built of them. That's why this tag is so great. And absolutely no offense to any of our friends from Oklahoma, but it is an Oklahoma mobile home license plate from 1977. Kind of an off-white with an emerald green. Glenn had a 12x60 champion. This is just plain metal on the back, but literally mobile home. So I don't know. I mean, it could have been for like a camper, but they saw a lot of times you had tags for mobile homes to move them as well. So anyway, I thought this one was kind of comical, kind of cool, kind of something different. What do you guys think? Wide load. That's exactly right. So, any mobile home fans? I don't think we have ever sold we sold a lot of different truck plates, a lot of different trailer plates, non-highway, off-road. Sam grew up with them till 6th grade. Lee at 15. So I just thought, I literally don't think we've ever probably that's I never thought of that, Pete, but you're probably right. It probably blew off in a tornado because if there's a tornado, it's hitting the trailer park first. There's no doubt about it. So, and like I said, I know in today's world, they're a lot different than what they were 50, 60 years ago. But you kind of put it back into the perspective. And I was thinking about, Urban Cowboy, the movie, when I found it today, going through those tubs of new tags. So that's right. You turn a garden shed into a tiny house. That's right. $45 a month for a parking spot. They were very affordable. There's no doubt about it. Let's get this thing on the timer. We've got Lee at 15 on the mobile home license plate. I'm actually writing the numbers down because I always do, but I don't really know why. Mobile home plate pretty much narrows it down. But Lee at 15. $30 seconds gone. 60 seconds left to go. Pete's got one too. Should I pay rent or renew my plate? That could be a conundrum, Kenny. 1 minute gone, 30 seconds left to go. Glenn's was Arctic insulated. About ready to wind this one up. Lee at 15 is our only bid. It's worth $15 just for the conversation of it. Martin 16, Tony 28, and that does it. Those both came in right at the end. Tony at 28 at like 129. Wow, that was some pretty good shooting on both Martin and Tony. Martin would have had it, but Tony had that one boom right after that. Wow. Like I said, it is kind of neat. Just it is definitely something kind of different. So yeah, which exactly, just what we were thinking. Glenn says even though his was parked and anchored, he still had to insure it and register it, have registration on it. What's up, Gray Kitty? Okay. Wow, we're pushing 10 o'clock here. Let's catch we haven't done a grease cap yet. We'll catch a grease cap. In fact, we'll just stick in form with our last cap and go with Nash once again on a grease cap, and then we'll kind of see where things are at for the night. And shoot, about time to start winding it down. It went pretty fast for me tonight. Let's squeeze in a grease cap because we have not done one of those yet tonight, and we don't want to at least completely ignore that. But check this one out. Since we did a Nash hubcap, let's do a Nash grease cap, and maybe they'll stay together. Maybe Kevin will grab this one too. Kenny at 10. Now this grease cap, the Nash is really pretty cool in it. It does have a dent right here, but a pretty elaborate emblem for being stamped in one of these grease caps. Now we see the backside, we can see it is actually stamped or cast in there. One thing different about this grease cap is this one is all round. These things always have a hex on them. Sometimes it's back here, sometimes it's out here, sometimes it's clear out of the front. There's always a hex. There is no hex on this grease cap at all. We've got a couple promos, Dennis. I don't know if we'll get to them tonight since we're running out of time. Internal threads as always. But these Nashes actually had these two bosses right here where you had a wrench where you could go right in those slots to unscrew them. Now, typically, these things have been stripped from a wrench slipping, and they're usually gouged out. When you look at these things, right, they'll be gouged out here from those slipping. This one really isn't. So this is a pretty good looking piece. It is 3 1/4 across the front and about 2 high. So yeah, it's a pretty decent one. It's a good looking piece. Nut Farm 25. Sam signing off. -2 tonight with a high of 5 tomorrow. Our week is looking horrible here too. I'm not looking forward to it. That's exactly right. Wedging a punch in there to bust them loose because they lost the tool. So Nut Farm at 25. Let's get this thing on the timer. -22 in South Dakota. You guys can keep it. We're going to see some negatives this week, and I am not looking forward to it. Nut Farm at 25 as we come up on the 30-second mark. 30 seconds gone. 60 seconds left to go. Up to 2 foot of snow in New York. Whew. Don't even want to think about that. 1 minute gone, 30 seconds left to go. Nut Farm at 25. Pete, 29. And that does it. Wow. Pete just snuck that in. Nut Farm was coming back with a 30-something. But Pete at 29 is who we had. There's the 30, but it was too late. Man, Pete, that was about perfect shooting. We had a couple guys took some shots, got him in there, 128, 129. Nobody had a chance to shoot back. So Nut Farm tried, but he was too late. Pete at 29 on the Nash cap. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and wind things up. It's already Yeah, we're 2.5 hours in. It's already 10 o'clock. Holy cow. Tonight did go quick, but obviously we did some different things that were a lot of fun tonight. I sure hope you guys enjoyed having Dad on. You guys have been asking for it for a long time, and it finally worked out, and glad he was able to spend some time with us. And I hope you guys are a little bit more enlightened on how things got to where they're at, I guess. So anyway, like I said, we're tweaking some things. If you didn't notice the title, from here on, we'll see how it works. Maybe it'll give people a better idea of what we're doing instead of just Sunday night live chat, calling it the Gearhead Interactive Live Chat. Curious as to what some of you guys think on that. That's right. It's crazy to think 250 episodes, and it's all because of you guys and your support and loyalty and what you guys have helped me create. Like I've told you before, I'm just the dummy that sits here in front of the webcam. Without you guys, this would be nothing. And I really, really do appreciate your support and what this is turning into. The gathering coming up, you guys coming in to hang out, meet each other, see the yard. It's still, to me, it's still crazy. I can't believe it. So lots of great comments about the 250th. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Doing some different things tonight for it. Yes. Still don't know that I'm necessarily Johnny Carson, but I do try, guys. I really do. The fact that you guys even have brought that up over the years, that that you guys think that we do a good job here, that means a lot. Because without you guys, this would be absolutely nothing. So, and absolutely congratulations to all of our winners. We had a lot of fun. That's right, Alec. You got the 250 signed plates, so there's only one for whatever that's worth, but there's only one. And it's just a blast, guys. And I appreciate you guys welcoming Dad in, and you guys that are able to make it out for the gathering. You'll get to see those cars firsthand as well. Not even nobody's without me. Well, I don't know about that, Dean. I think a lot of you guys are all pretty important and pretty special coming here and making this happen. But glad you guys think that. And like I said, tell your friends about us. And, the more people we have on here, the more knowledge we're going to have. The gathering is April 26th, Dean. Pete's managing that email list as well on that. If you want to get on that, if Pete's got a second, can throw his email address up there once again. I think Eric, he put it up there earlier for Eric, but you can send Pete an email and get the information. April 26th is the day this year of the gathering, following a similar format to last year, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We are adding a little bit more to that. Going to try to have the automotive-based trivia at the brewery that night, and hopefully that will be interactive as well for the guys that can't make it. We are hoping Ryan thinks he can get that set up to where you guys will be able to join in from home, at least in the trivia part of it, while we are at Dry Lake Brewery Saturday evening. So it's coming together, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, are you in the raffle yet, Kenny? Because we're giving all those away. That's a full set. The 51 with the 52 update, and the 51 with the 53 update, the whole set. We've never had a whole set here to offer, so we're raffling them off. We've had some 51 plates, and I had a handful of like 53s, but only 152 at one point. 2 weeks. We're giving those away in 2 weeks, and we got a killer toy for the next raffle. So you bet, Matt. We're trying. We will do some live stuff as well. Last year we did Friday Night Live from the brewery. I would assume we will probably do that as well. Okay. So yeah, that Friday night episode, we did it instead of a normal Friday night episode. We did it live from the brewery last year. So we'll probably do that again this year for you guys that can't be here. And I know it's a lot to come here, guys. Don't think I'm not upset about anybody that can't make it. It's a major commitment to come to Kansas and be part of this. So we do want to include you guys, however we can. So we will do the live from the brewery. We did some live stuff from the yard. Hopefully, if the weather is more cooperative this year, we'll be able to do some more live stuff from the yard. And then hopefully we can get the trivia set up interactive so that you guys will be able to join in on that as well. With that, I guess we'll go ahead and put an exclamation point on, for as crazy as this sounds, episode number 250. 250 times we've done this, guys. I thank you for allowing me to do it that long. This week, our weather's supposed to be atrocious as well. It sounds like the whole country's going to get clobbered this week. So we will do Toy Tuesday Live. We've got another viewer pack to get into Tuesday night. Looking forward to that from one of our friends up north. So we will do that on Tuesday evening. We will get some more content up. What's coming up? Members, I think we'll get the Cord video up, taking that 37, going to lunch in a supercharged 37 Cord Phaeton. We'll try to get that one up for members maybe Friday night. Oh, wow. So almost, was it 2 years, Big Job? You pulled that back down since we lost Withrow. That's kind of crazy too. We have lost some viewers over the last 5 years. LNNC was one of our regulars, but Withrow was one of those guys who was clockwork every week. He was engaged. He was a big part of the show. And, we always hate losing members, but, Withrow, he was one of the ones. He was here early from the beginning and a huge supporter. So it was terrible when we lost him and all the nobodies that we've lost over the last few years, because it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But that one was kind of crazy when we lost him. So thanks, Nut Farm, appreciate it. And like I said, hopefully we can still get something done this week because the weather's supposed to be atrocious. I will be in the shop, but hey, when I'm in the shop, that means I've been picking stuff up, so you never know what we're going to find. I've still got a big pile here of stuff that I got out this week. But I may find some more cool stuff for some upcoming auctions. Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate that. Shot a wild turkey for Jason Withrow. Absolutely, Kenny. And with that, I almost kind of don't want to end it, but it's been crazy thinking, we got to end the episode at one point. It's just kind of taken in. For me, it's kind of soaking in now. Everything up to this point has been getting ready for tonight. Because I wanted to do a good job for you guys. Dad said he was going to come down. I wanted to be prepared for Dad and have some of the stuff I wanted him to talk to you guys about with some of his cars, some stuff I thought you'd find interesting. So for me, if you guys will allow me a second here, now it's kind of soaking in now. I worked hard to getting a lot of the stuff ready today for auctions, trying to be organized about it, and holy cow, it's here and it's over and it's said and done with already. Number 250, and it's all thanks to you guys. So anyway, as always, I appreciate your support. And thanks to all of you for making this what it is. Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate that. I try. Let's get the big Auburn badge out as we wind this one down for tonight. There we go. The big kahuna, Auburn 12, as we wrap up episode number 250. Thanks, Bill. And appreciate all the kind comments, all the support for Dad tonight. Number 500 soon. That's a long ways off, Bill. That's right, Kenny. Boom, with the big Auburn badge. Everybody have a drink. Can't wait to see some of you guys the 26th. We'll see some of you Tuesday night. And thanks for being here, Walter. I don't think I've seen you pop up very often. Glad you were here. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll go ahead and wind up number 250. We'll see some of you Tuesday night for Toy Tuesday, and we sure hope to see you all right back here next Sunday night, same bat time, same bat station, for episode number 251. You don't try, you succeed. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate that. I think I'm trying. The fact that you guys see that I'm succeeding in what I'm doing, that makes me feel good. I appreciate that. So thanks for being here and making what this is. I appreciate it, guys. We sure hope to see you next week.